No.
I built a dickcraft. Hey. Let me just spark over here. Oh yeah, that's what the dog likes. Right, I'm ready. Let's do this. Dick slap. Oh yeah. Your life shall be undone by my dick. Oh yeah. Now that I think of it, this is a really bad strategy. Fuck it. Yeah. Oh. Where am I? Is this heaven? No. Then why is everything white? It's like that so we can't draw dicks anymore. The ever-shining light of purity will not allow it. Also, Carl forgot to change the light bulb, so we're stuck with the white light. Damn, that sucks, but what am I supposed to do now? That's quite simple. You just stop. God damn it. Do you mind? What? Hello guys, my name is kiminekyt, and after a month-long pause that I've just had, I'm back in my habitat. And today I'm gonna be talking about a game called Avorion, a space building, shooting, sandboxy kind of a game, basically Minecraft in space. Have you ever wanted to play Minecraft in space? Me neither, but there is a game like that anyway, so yeah. Either way, the Avorion is a game where you, just like in Minecraft, start weak and have to fight your way to become stronger, be it through actual fighting, mining, or crafting. Additionally, since this is a space fighting game with spaceships and space factions, you will also get stronger by buying, selling, hiring, and salvaging, none of which are, by the way, explained to you in the game's tutorial. And by the way, the tutorial of this game is a load of utter horseshit. It'll teach you nothing at all and you'll waste about 15 minutes by going through it. Seriously, all that you will need from it is just learning how to hire new crew members. The rest of it is probably as useful to you as the complete history of philosophy to a student of computer sciences. Yeah, it's fucking useless! God, I hate civics. To think that a game with so many different mechanics would spend 90% of its tutorial on just advanced explanation of how WASD works is just ridiculous. I've gone through the entire tutorial twice, don't ask me why, I just did, and all I got from it is the confirmation that yes, you move around exactly like you would expect. And after that, I've been thrown into an unknown world where it took me 60 hours to just find out that there is such a thing as story. Yes, I'm blind as a bat. Also, did I mention that there is a story in this game? Because, yes, there is. Well, it's not much of a story, but it's something. The story of this game is basically just a system of stations that you can defeat with some backstory thrown into it. Not somehow incredible, but sufficient enough considering that it's a sandbox game. Note to self, don't salvage unless you got salvaging guns. Anyway, that's the tutorial covered. Now to the part of the video where I actually start talking about the game itself. Remember when I said that this game is essentially Minecraft but in space? Well, I wasn't lying. Not only that everything's made of rectangles in this game, but also plays out the same. You basically dig, build, fight and craft. When you spawn into your galaxy for the first time ever, you're going to spawn in this tiny little drone equipped with just the most basic equipment you'll need to progress further in the game. And the first thing you want to do with it is to fly to the closest rock that's covered in these shit stains. Have some toilet paper, would ya? The reason why I want this rock is because it's composed of iron, the most basic ore of the game. Basically, the space equivalent of wood from Minecraft. Space wood! Once you mine about 5,000 of this space wood, you can build yourself a ship that's capable of doing something other than just die. Then you can go out somewhere to mine some titanium, the second most basic ore of the game. And then you build yourself a new ship that's made of titanium. Then the whole process repeats again and again, each time with a higher tier of ores, until you finally build a ship from the strongest ore in the entire game, the Avorion. Simple, right? Well, not for long. Actually, there's already a catch to what I've said. You know how in Minecraft you just can't mine diamonds with a stone pickaxe, right? It's like that so you have at least some form of limitations and won't just steamroll over the entire game within minutes. The Avorion is unsurprisingly no different in this regard. The mining guns can only mine ores that are up to 2 tiers higher than their own tier. This means that, for example, an iron mining gun can only mine ores up to a nalinite tier. Trinium and higher tier ores simply won't take any damage from those guns. In order to mine those, you need a higher tier gun. But here's the catch. You cannot craft a higher tier gun. And why is that? I don't know, as the pirates, they seem to have all of them. Well, it's not necessarily like you cannot craft a higher tier gun. You can, of course you can, you just don't want to. Trust me. In order to get just the most basic chain gun, you need a bunch of servos, a couple of steel tubes, some ammo, steel, aluminium, your right arm, and a firstborn child. Wait, that doesn't sound that bad. Except for the steel tubes, right? Good luck trying to find those, because at 90 hours in I still haven't found any. Seriously, why can't I just use the firstborn children to craft the gun? It'd be far easier and I've got plenty of those down in my basement. The crafting gets a bit easier once you understand that it's more or less just about looking at what the factory needs, then looking at where are the factories that produce that stuff, and then about getting that stuff. Pretty simple after a couple of hours into the game. But from the start of the game, and throughout the rest of it actually, the pirates are much easier and more effective way of getting new guns and CPUs. The crafting is there basically just in case you want a specific gun. Oh, and since I mentioned the CPUs, I should also mention that the CPUs are basically like upgrades for your ship. They allow you to increase the strength of your ship in various ways. Mobility, durability, firepower, you name it. The higher the quality of the CPU, the higher the bonus it provides. I would also want to highlight two specific CPUs. The sector scanners, which are needed to progress in the story of this game, this is what costed me 60 hours, and the jump range CPU, which upon permanent installation lets you jump around the sectors like Charlie Sheen in a cocaine-induced rampage. Both of them are things I recommend you to have constantly on your ship, especially the jump range CPU because it actually makes the game playable. Next up we get a trading, which is like crafting but like twice as difficult. If what crafting was difficult enough, now imagine if you not only had to find where to buy the ingredients, but you also had to find a place where to sell them. That's trading for you. And to clarify myself, you can't just find a random trading post and then proceed to dump everything there. Oh no. The space stations you find buy only a random bunch of ingredients, and you have to find that one specific, specially mentally impaired space station that for some fucking reason wants those 5 fuck tons of books that you purchased at the last space station you were at. Yeah, I didn't know that the demand for books in this game is lower than the demand for yet another fucking battle royale game. The trading system of this game is pretty complex, and finding your way around a randomly generated galaxy trying to find a randomly generated station that has randomly generated store that just happens to want exactly what you sell can be an absolute nightmare at times. Thankfully, in order to trade, you don't have to remember what exactly all those randomly generated stations buy and offer. The Avorion developers probably understood that the whole trade thing is a pain in the ass to deal with, and introduced the trading CPU, which shows you exactly what you can buy and sell in the last couple of sectors you were in. But even then, one single missed number and you will end up as a flying library for the upcoming 5 hours. Now, I will talk about the story as well, but I found my first beacon only just now, so yeah, let's move to something else, such as my feelings about this game. And here it is quite obvious. I love this game. It's one of the best games I've played in quite a while, and it even perfectly fits my taste. Spaceships, buildings, sandbox, just perfect. So I'll talk about the things I dislike instead, since there's less of them. Now, don't get me wrong, I love playing this game so far, but there are still some things I disliked about it, so these are more like the little nitpicks that bothered me while playing it. So let's start with the first one. The game feels rather shallow. Prolonged playing of it felt like staring at Taylor Swift's ass, as if the game lacked depth of any sort. Now, that might have been caused by me running around aimlessly for 60 fucking hours, but hey, can't let people think I'm stupid, so fuck you, Boxlerware. It's all your fault. Not really, you're doing a great job, I love you. I would still blame the poor story introduction for this rather than just me being dumb. Like, sure, me dumb a lot, but the whole story introduction is just a random NPC giving you a CPU. That's it. You're not told what is a CPU, you are not told what does that specific CPU, hell, you are not even told how to install that CPU, and you are expected to know that some kind of a magic tool you'll use later for a story? Like, how? Sure, sandbox games don't even need a story at all, and this game actually having one is just the devs going out of their way to make it, but they tied a major part of the game progression to it. The story is no longer optional, you have to do it if you want to finish the game. Sure, the Terraria, for example, also has a major part of the game progression bound to the story. It can't even be called a story. But the Terraria literally shoves the boss summoning items into your inventory whenever it gets the chance to. Here, that NPC giving you a CPU is a one-time sort of a thing. Apart from that, you're just reminded that the closer you get to the center of the galaxy, the better ores you'll find, and that's it. But how am I supposed to get there? It felt as if I was thrown into a pool of God knows what and told, swim you little shit. That's bad parenting you got there, Boxaware. Really bad parenting. The next thing I dislike about this game is the lack of proper endgame. Now by endgame, I don't mean endgame as endgame. By endgame, I mean endgame as endgame. You got it? Alright. Endgame. Jesus, that was bad. And now what I really meant was that the ships in the endgame do not feel like, well, ships. Most of the time they feel like glorified fighter jets. Take for example this thick and truly beautiful destroyer with the volume of a couple of million cubic meters. And now look at how this completely and utterly destroyed by it moving around like this and shooting like this. There wouldn't be any problem if the ships were just a bit bigger than actual real-life jets, but most of the time they are the size of Kanye's ego, and yet the most efficient strategy is to just slap everything on the front and call it a day. It just feels unnatural. I'm not saying that the fighter-like playstyle is bad. Quite the opposite, actually. I used to love it when I used to play BSGO back in the day, and when I moved to other space fighting games such as the EVE Online or STO, I hated when I saw it absent. They more or less always went for this kind of a playstyle. But in Avorion there is too much of that dogfighting playstyle. Actually there is no other playstyle, just the dogfighting. Man, I would love if they added actual ships to the game. Just imagine the two colossi battling it out in a duel of epic proportions. A duel spanning kilometers in length. A barrage of broadside cannons roaring in an ear-splitting symphony, only to be interrupted by the crushing wave of torpedoes splattering against the underside of the opposing ship. Man, my ding-dong's getting hard just thinking about that. The last thing I dislike about this game is that you can rename your ship. Yes, really. You literally can rename your ship. I'm not even kidding about that. Anyway, I'm gonna end the video right about here because it is already getting a bit too long, and in all honesty I don't want it to be any longer. I still managed to cover most of the game, like solid 70% of it. Like sure, I didn't mention stuff like, for example, how the stations work, how different guns work and what they are the best at doing, and so on and so on. I still mentioned roughly about 70% of the game, which in my opinion is a decent amount of the game. Still, the game is absolutely freaking humongous. It is so huge that I don't think I would be even able to cover it as a whole. Still though, this game is one of the games that I would definitely recommend to everybody that's watching this video, that's not watching this video, to everybody as a whole, because it is an absolutely amazing game. The 100 hours I've spent on this game so far have been some of the best hours I've spent while playing any game ever. So yeah, it is definitely an amazing game. Another reason why I actually didn't manage to cover everything in this video is that I wanted to shove in a couple of negative opinions about this game into the video as well, since in case you do not know, the game is still in early development, and in case the developers will actually look at this video, which I sincerely hope, they will at least know what I want to see changed about the game and well possibly change it. After all, there is still a lot of room to improve the game. So yeah. So though, hope you enjoyed this video and I hope that I'll see you next time. Also, why did you make every single ship in this game so fucking fast?